doing an update on our top plants. You know, those are getting ready to produce, that are flowering, getting ready to harvest, or about to flower, and all that. Make sure you double tap that screen or like this button or click that like button. Comment, let me know what you're growing in your garden and all that. Love to know. Mm. There we go. When you subscribe to our gardening channel if you haven't already, would really appreciate that. We're so close to 500 subscribers, only 17 away. Okay, let's get into it. Double tap that screen. Haven't already. Really appreciate those who have. Um, yeah, our peas here, they're getting ready to harvest there. Like this one here. This one's an interesting, it's kind of purple there, purple flower. Pretty nice. This is our apple, Colomar apple, it's like a skinny fruit snacks apple, which is like skinny, space saving. So like regular trees, regular, apple trees. It's raining out here. It's like 72 degrees. It's little, little cold, a little below average day, but not that much. Our Suns here. We got a red, which look very pretty, and our yellow doing pretty good there. Columbine, pineapple, we got a couple of those. Sunflower, that's getting ready to open up there. It's trying to open up. And out those leaves. Asparagus, windmill palm, which I went to the beach recently. And got some more um shells, shells, for the bottom there to decorate it. It's doing really good. Pronounce, another leaf there. And another no, fond. Franz, that's how you say it. Ooh, ooh, look at this. Oh my, look at this. This is a sugar baby, watermelon sugar baby, flowering. Two flowers there and one there. So we're gonna be getting some watermelons pretty soon. And then I think we probably got some more in here somewhere. Let's see. Ooh, looks like that one was bit by an animal there. So that one's, got some more coming up there, but these are actually opened, So we get those pollinated so we can get some, some watermelons. Our stevia plant is doing pretty good. It's, did a good transplant. Hey, welcome in. Make sure you double tap that screen to like this live. And go ahead and comment, tell me what are you growing in your garden and all that. Really appreciate that. But here, look at this. Our sugar baby our watermelon, our sugar baby watermelon, which, is flowering, flower. We got a flower there on our watermelon sugar baby, and then I also got another one there. And then we got some more coming up there. Comment what are you growing in your garden? Subscribe if you haven't already. Double tap that screen. But look at that. It's doing pretty good there. Oh, we got some more coming up there. I'll keep you guys updated on that, growing and all that. Our roses here, the easy as pie. Mm, a cherry bush there. This is our asparagus here. I gotta trim that dead one there. But asparagus, it takes like about like 3 years before you can start harvesting it. Now this is like the second year. Well, I planted it, I think last year. I'm not sure, but her peas here. Look, we got one there. Yeah, that one's getting ready to harvest soon, but look at this flower there. That's like a purple pinkish there. And then there was got some white flowers there. I got a ton more. Make sure you double tap that screen to like this live. And let me know what are you growing in your garden. Because I would love to know. I'm always interested on hear what people are growing in their gardens. This is a cucumber bush, so it grows in like a bush instead of those cucumber vines going all over the place, all over your garden. Especially if you don't have a lot of space, it's very good for that. Our better bush tomato, which, it's again good for space saving, if you have tight spaces and all that. And I think I saw some flowers on this before. Where are they? Oh yeah, see right there. So we're gonna be, and then on this one, also better bush tomato. So we'll hopefully, get those soon. Make sure you double tap that screen to like this live and share it to your friends. This is our summer squash here. Look at that. That one's growing. So in a couple weeks, we'll be able to harvest the summer squash. This is my golden watermelon here. It's kind of suffering a little bit. Gotta trim that back a bit. Windmill palm there, which is doing really good, putting out new fronds, new leaves and everything. Double tap that screen to like this live, subscribe if you haven't already. We post tips on gardening, tips and tricks and all that. And if you have any gardening questions, go ahead and ask me. I'll do my best to try and answer them. This is my grapevine here, which I covered those grapes with some mesh bags there. I still got some to cover, but there are a lot of them. And the trellis, hold on, let me show you guys this. The trellis broke over here from the wind and everything and was getting rusty and all that. As you can see, I'm not sure what to do about that. And maybe if I put a trellis under it to help support it, maybe, or a trellis over and then tie it up to it. I'm not sure what to do since now it's leaning over. Double tap that screen to like this live to help get live out there. Subscribe to our gardening channel, post tips and tricks, videos a lot. Um, you know. This is my catnip here, which is getting ready to flower. Oh, this is my red velvet sunflower, which is starting to open up there. Can't wait to harvest those seeds, plant more of those. Actually, I didn't plant that one. That one just came up because I planted it one year and like the seeds spread around the garden, and it comes up here. Another year it came up over there in the pot. This is my Majesty palm here, sitting out in the frond there. Oh, and oh yes, I want to show you this here. These are my columbines, and you hear that both not really rattling right now, but it is rattling a little. Wait, there you go. You can hear it a bit. See those? Hear that? Kind of sounds like a baby rattle. Those are those seeds in there. And I'm gonna spread those around my garden, so I can get some more columbines. There. See those black seeds there? Spread those around. This is my shotsta daisy here. It's doing very nice, very pretty. Euphoria. Ooh, my garlic here. That's getting ready to harvest soon. In a couple of weeks, we'll have that ready. Oh, peanut plant. Unfortunately, looks like got attacked by an animal there. Hopefully it will come back. My pomegranate, which is making the full recovery there. I did a bad transplant, but it's putting out new leaves and all that. Make sure you double tap that screen to like this live, help get it out there. Really appreciate that. Those who are supporting us. Um, our plum tree here, Italian plum. It's still struggling with aphids, like they're coming and going, like there, as you can see there. Not sure if you can see, but those, I smush them and everything whenever I can. But there's just they keep coming back over and over again. I'm not sure what to do. The ladybugs, there's not many in here. I'm gonna search it up again, I'll see if I can get some of those plant some plants to attract some ladybugs to, hopefully get rid of these aphids here and try to smush them a bit there. Our begonias here, which really they like the shade back here. Lamb ears, very soft. Absolutely love those. And over here, fall gold raspberry. You know, mm, it's settling in. It's, growing some roots right now. Raspberry, no, blackberry. This is our blackberry. See, we got one there. Those are flowers that are dried up. Those are going to turn into some blackberries too. This is a thornless blackberry. No thorns or anything. It's kind of got like a hairy vine. I mean, there's got like tiny little hairs, but those aren't, they aren't like ha cactus hairs or anything. Like they don't hurt you at all. But they keep like deer and stuff like from animals from eating it because, the hairy feel like the animals don't like that, so they still don't eat it. And you don't have those thorns, because when you harvest a raspberry bush, or a blackberry bush with thorns, you get poked with them and stuff. It gets scratched up sometimes. Mm. Just throw some netting there. Compost. Gotta spin that. Gotta spin this every once in a while. I have, orange peels, bananas, all those food scraps in there, in that compost there. This is my, um, this is my catnip, which is growing like really tall there. It's getting a little out of control. I might have to like cut it back a bit since it's getting really tall and everything. It's getting ready to flower, which will definitely attract some bees. I'm sure it will probably attract a ton of bees once the catnip flowers. One here by the greenhouse. I got like a prickly pear cactus in there. Oh yeah. I'm pretty sure catnip is part of like the mint family. So, and mint is invasive. It grows like, I don't know, like 2 to 3 feet tall or something. And then it grows like endlessly sideways. It's kind of like ivy, like English ivy and everything. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is part of like the mint family, like all those like other mints and everything. Because mint, is like invasive a bit. It like grows endlessly sideways, you know. Yeah. But I feel like, mint, it grows like endlessly sideways, it's like kind of like a ground cover, but like kind of like English ivy and stuff. Yeah. Yes, catnip kind of does smell like weed a little bit. My garlic here, look at that. That one's getting ready to harvest. In a couple weeks, we'll have some garlic. I also got some more over there. This is my line there. Not sure if you can see that, but yeah, that one's you'll harvest that soon. My lemon tree, it's kind of struggling a bit with leaf curl, but we'll see. It is pushing out some new leaves, so that's good. I do have to do a little pruning there since there are some dead branches there. And then here, this is my other cannon bush, you know, that one by the greenhouse, and then this by my bamboo, which is in a pot, because to control it, because if you don't put it in a pot, bamboo is incredibly invasive. It can destroy foundations and all that. Wait, look at that bee there. Uh, that bee was just pollinating these catnip flowers. They're pretty. They don't really have much of a smell. Oh, look at this. This is an onion flower here. I think that's called. A finger lime? Oh yeah, I've heard of those. I've seen those. Those look pretty neat. I might get one of those. But I'm, already have my garden is already a little packed. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah, I come out here every day, take care of my stuff and check on all my plants. This is my lemon thyme here. It's got these beautiful little like pink purple flowers, garlic chives. I got some onion chives down there. This is my pineapple mint, which I planted in a pot. And because it says, it says to do that is like 2 to 3 inches high, but grows endlessly. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I love being outside, experiencing nature, hearing the birds, singing and everything, just listening to nature. It's nice, check out my plants, see how they're progressing and everything. Like this here is my watermelon sugar baby, which is flowering there, and then another one there. Yeah, so we'll get some watermelons, you know, hopefully soon, and within a month or so, whatever. And then there's some more, coming up there. I see some flowers there that are gonna, flower eventually. But we got two there. Um, oh, see, there's another flower down there that's gonna have, that's gonna, yeah. Yeah, I planted these from seeds. They're they're organic, some organic dirt. This is a bush, sugar watermelon sugar baby bush. So they're kind of bushy. This is like a regular sugar, so that that is, that grows outwards. Hi, welcome in. Comment, what do you like to grow in your garden? You know, if you have any gardening questions, go ahead and ask me. Thank you. Make sure you subscribe for some gardening tips if you haven't already. I appreciate it. We're so close to 500 subscribers. We're 17 away. Last I checked, unless I gained some from this live, which hopefully I did. Um, this is my stevia, plant, stevia bush. What they use for 0-calorie sweetener. It's very sweet. I'm very thankful. Unfortunately, for the past, like, I kept growing and growing. Nice. Yeah. It's, it's amazing, when you can just eat some fresh stuff from your garden. What was it the other day? Yeah. Oh yeah, I harvested some raspberries, right off the bush, and ate them, and they were absolutely delicious. Yeah, yeah, I was wondering on how to harvest it and everything. I was gonna search that up. So you dry it out, grind it up, and use a sweetener for sure. Yeah, flowers there. Um, sure. So you just like pick the leaves. Can you use the flowers for anything? I know there's seeds in there. I think, keep growing those and everything. I, I mean, the flowers didn't really have that much of smell, but yeah, I can't wait to make my own like sweetener. I'll have to like search up exactly how to do it, and then I'll do a video on that for sure. So then other people can do it and all of that. Oh yes, this is my And then do you know then how do you make it like a liquid sweetener? You know how like they have those bottles of like stevia liquid, sweeteners? Like how do you um do that? But yeah, I mean, I'll do some research on that, see if you can use the flowers for anything. I know there are like some seeds in there that'll turn into some seeds. This is my lettuce here, which is it's bolting, but it's flowering and everything. But it will seed and everything. Then I can grow, so I can have, once I transplant it, be no worries. I'll do some research on how to do it. So search up a video and it'll be cool to see how exactly they do it. Oh yes, and I want to show you. Oh, I'm gonna show you my fig tree over here. My fig tree, which had it for quite some time before this tree is older than I am. My dad's dad, my my grandpa, I guess. Yeah. Um, you know, yeah, I'm not sure exactly what type this is, but I've had it for a while. Of my dad's dad, my grandpa, um, I think he like grew this from, I think he grew from like a cutting or something. I'm not sure. And then, you know, brought it like from his yard to our yard, and then it was like by a fence on the other side of our house, and then we moved it over here. I don't know, we've had it for a long time. We got some little figs there, some figs there, and there, lots. I want to do air layering, on this, so I can like duplicate it, maybe plant some back in my garden over there, where you scrape the bark off and everything, put some dirt in, close it and everything. I have to do that at some point this summer. I'm just putting it off since it seems like, a lot of work, but it probably isn't that hard. Yeah, I've tried that, but it doesn't work. It doesn't work for me. I like it's what's it called? Like I mean, I've done it inside. I mean, maybe that's the problem, but like I've done it inside, put a plastic bag over it to keep moisture in, but they just grow mold. I mean, I might try it outside instead of inside. Maybe that will help because I just like did it on my counter. Probably maybe like yeah. Yeah, I mean, I tried that and in my kitchen, put it by the window, but it just like grew mold. It like never put out roots. So I'm not sure. Could I try it outside maybe? Maybe that will help. We'll see. So I have to do some research. I also want to try some air layering because I haven't done that before. I'll try it on my fig tree, then maybe I'll do it on my apple tree or a peach tree so that I can duplicate those. Maybe sell those or just have another apple tree or a peach tree. Nice, yeah. I'll have to try again. I've tried 2 times already, but they didn't make it. But that was on my counter inside, so maybe if I try it outside, do it. Do you think I could do it like this time of year? Could I cut it, put it in a pot, will grow? And did you grow it from cuttings? You grew the apples from cuttings? Yeah. in the fall. Yeah, I'll be sure to all those on my on the to-do list, I'll try, an experiment. Yeah. I'll try going a fig cutting now. If it works, great. If it doesn't, I'll try again in the fall. This is my California poppy, which interestingly kind of smells like shellfish, like seafood and stuff. Like when you smell it, I don't know why, but it just does. Got some zinnias in there. Oh, this is my coconut palm. Red Supreme, Ruby Supreme guava, which it flowered. So I posted a video on that, but that one unfortunately fell off. Yeah. I mean, I did try that. I put it in water, but like it didn't grow any roots. I mean, maybe the water was too shallow. You know, I'll do a couple, I'll try it and start in water, some in dirt outside. I'll do a couple experiments to see what works best. But, my guava, yeah, it flowered, but that bud was sitting there for a while because it was indoor. Yeah. I mean, maybe I was just too impatient to, um, and I was like, gave up too easily. I'm certainly gonna try again. Trial and error, trial and error, see what works best. My, yeah, this is a Ruby Supreme guava. It flowered here, but like the bud was sitting for so long because inside it was too dry for it, so it lost a bunch of leaves and everything. But once I started like watering the stem and everything, hydrating the leaves, like spraying the leaves and everything, it started to come back and I brought it outside and everything. So maybe that was why I didn't form fruit, but there are some more buds from more flower buds there, and I think some up there. So I'll be sure to keep you guys updated on that. This is my spindle palm, which is like an orange tint to it, which I live in New Jersey, growing zone 7A. But, I grow lots of tropicals, but I bring them inside, or I put them in my greenhouse back there, which gets very packed in the winter. This is my date palm, which is doing pretty good. Yeah, thank you. These are my elephant ears here and here, which is doing pretty good there. And then over here, I got some more roses. This is my double knockout rose. And then the candy cane cocktail rose, which, it's starting to come back there, putting out some new leaves, some elephant ears here, and some patience there. Yeah. Oh, and then I got a hydrangea over here. And it was a little root bound, so I had to break up the roots a lot. But, I lost the leaves and everything, but it's starting to come back. Sprouting some new leaves there and everything. Doing pretty good, coming back pretty strong there. Same thing happened with my what's it called? My pomegranate. Yeah, I do too. This is an early blue hydrangea. And then I also have a called here over here another hydrangea. I think that's a purple one, and the tag kind of broke up. You had two types of palm trees or hydrangeas? Like hydrangea palms, like palms. Like what do you mean? Oh, pomegranate. Oh, oh, that makes more sense. Yeah, yeah, that sucks. Yeah, but yeah, I did a bad I did a bad job transplanting the pomegranate. I like broke up to the roots too much, and I thought I killed it, but I left it in the dirt after it was losing all its leaves and everything. But I scratched the bark and it was still